Bonjour à tous, Grenoble Indian Film Festival est ravi de vous accueillir pour une nouvelle session de film avec nos jeunes réalisateurs qui sont avec nous aujourd'hui. Nous avons deux frères et nous avons Monika qui est une productrice. Donc voilà, les frères Pancharia. Un des frères, Vajra, est en train de faire l'école de Gobelin à Paris, prestigieuse école bien sûr. Mais avant cela, il avait déjà une carrière et a fait des choses très, très intéressantes. Son frère également est un réalisateur, mais également acteur, qu'on a vu dans pas mal de films. Hein. J'ai cru voir qu'il était dans Tituré, qu'il était dans Mathrubhumi. Donc, très intéressant, puisque nous, on était partenaire avec Mathrubhumi lorsque le film est sorti en France. Film de Manish Jha, hein, très, très impressionnant. Donc, on est ravis, on va discuter avec eux de savoir un petit peu ce qu'ils ont fait et ce qu'ils nous proposent pour le festival. Nous avons TUBELIGHT et nous avons Blue Curry. Donc, Blue Curry est le film que Vajra a fait avec l'école de Gobelin à Paris, Gobelin Images, hein, mondialement connu, bien sûr, et TUBELIGHT qu'ils ont fait donc, quelques années avant, peut-être 3 ans avant, et qui a été présenté à plusieurs festivals, d'ailleurs, festival de films mobiles à Paris, mais également festival qui est en parallèle à Cannes, qui est avec le HP, hein, et ils ont reçu un award là-bas. Donc, c'est quand même pas rien. On a de la chance d'avoir ces deux films-là. Donc, voilà, je vais passer en anglais. Delighted to have you. So happy, so happy. We've been following your work, and then I meet you in Cannes. And then I hear that you're going to be coming to Paris. And then we don't have so many people and so many films with animation. So it's a huge thing knowing that Grenoble is 1 hour from Annecy. Annecy is the world mecca for animation, films. So this is really interesting. Are you happy to be in Paris?
No, absolutely. I'm extremely happy. It's been an amazing journey so far. And just to be a part of Gobelin was amazing. It was 2 years of beautiful time meeting so many amazing people from different countries. That was the best part because, each of us could bring our own cultures or own stories. And in fact, my film Blue Curry also kind of represents, bringing people together, and also talking about self-identity. So, Paris is Paris is a dream which has come true. And I've been living in Paris since this is my 2.5 years it's been, and now I can say I'm living in, because in lockdown it was not really living in Paris, but it's been an amazing journey so far. And my brother is here with me. We are finally reunited after 2 years. Sadly, I lost my dad this year. It was quite a painful moment for our family.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I guess this is how it was, but at least while I was working on my film, it all happened at the same time. I was down with COVID, but at least the film made me focus and brought me out of the pain that we all were going through. And I'm glad to be with my brother. My mom is also here with me in Paris, so it's a good time, and hoping for much better time. Yeah.
Right. So it's a difficult moment to think that you need to find those resources within you to go create with everything that was happening, and saying that these 18 months you get into something beautiful, and then this COVID appears. But then isn't it in these moments that we find, and we need to go the deepest in ourselves to go find creativity,
exactly.
And that pain converts and becomes whatever we have in terms of beauty left in our heads, and the memories and whatever we've lived through, that transforms and comes out in these works and films and short films that people make. So there's inspiration in everything. Monika, how did you come into these projects, these different very interesting projects?
Well, Sonia, Vinamra and I, we met in a theater group. We are always going to be actors, so that's where we met. And like you just mentioned, that when you have to dig deep into resources to be able to do what you really want to do, that's when magic happens. And so we were doing the usual being part of a theater group and then auditioning. And you know how it is. Sometimes you get parts, sometimes you don't. But we wanted to be part of stories. And, you know, we were mulling over the idea, and a festival came along. It was a 48-hour film festival. And we said, you know what? Let's give this a shot. And that's when we discovered the amazing storyteller in the first story we did, Vinamra. So we had this timeline, like, you know, it's a 48-hour film festival. So you have only 48 hours. So we had decided whoever in our group, we had about 9 people at the time, whoever comes up with the first story and we feel it's good enough, pause, we move to the next step. And lo and behold, Vinamra came up with the story, and we got together as a team, made that film, and ended up winning pretty much all the awards. So that was a huge encouragement. And people have gone their ways, done things. We've still been associated with a lot of the initial 9 members. But then Vinamra and I, and of course our very, very solid support in every film, Vajra, have been making films. And this is back in 2013. And since, you know, we've always been trying to make films, and we've been very fortunate to have been getting the kind of encouragement through festivals, through you know, organizations that have liked our films, and that just boosted us to do more. So that is how I came about to these projects. Yeah, that's pretty much
so,
it.
So tell me a little bit more about your background then, with you know, what you did before, training or whatever.
Yeah, you'll be surprised to hear Monika's background.
Wow, so I am a jack of all trades and hopefully a master of some. I don't know. My parents might want to disagree, but so by academics, I'm a doctor, MBBS. But by heart, I always wanted to be an actor and be in performing arts. So that was happening parallelly. So I made a clear decision after I completed my MBBS that this is not the route I go. But, you know, like in every country, when you're in the arts, you want to pursue it, but you also want to pay the bills when you reach a certain age. So that is when training came along. So I just, on a lark, somebody said, you know, you speak well, you have this confidence, why don't you give this a shot? And I did. I was picked up by this organization. And once again, parallelly, you know, they put me in workshops. I got to be a master trainer. And like, I'm a very kinesthetic person, maybe comes with the territory. I got into the team building space. I got into the bigger space where, again, the stage was bigger, you know, doing programs for people anywhere from 200 to 2,000, and middle management, leadership. But yeah, so that's how I got into training. And then I was like, okay, where is the hub? It's Bombay. So in 2012, I had been doing theater in Delhi. I'd been actively doing theater with a lot of groups, honing my acting skills, doing a lot of workshops.
You were a doctor where? In Delhi? You trained to be a doctor in Delhi?
I know. I did this in Vinamra Pancharia. This is an institute down south in India. It's a pretty good institute. So I did it there. But that's it. I completed my studies and I never really practiced. I do social medicine. I help people out, friends, family, and whoever I can when I can. But that was pretty much it as far as my medical career, or the lack of it, goes. Yeah.
How
so yeah, then I moved to
interesting.
Bombay, and yeah. Well, they're engineers, so you know, I mean, people make a big brouhaha. After Vinamra is an you know, engineer, so yeah.
So Vinamra, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so
I've been reading fantastic things. I can't sum it all up. It was like I'm printing out the pages to read things. Wonderful, great.
Yeah, so I started with acting at a really young age because my dad was into theaters, and both me and Vajra, we started doing theater at a young age, at school level, at college level. And then I did my first television appearance with Vajra in 1996. And that was quite an early start. And then I was doing a lot of serials as a child actor. And by 10th or 12th, I was pretty much clear that I wanted to be an actor. And then I did engineering because that's how it goes in India. You have to do engineering. Then I worked in Tata for a year and a half as a civil engineer. And once I had the backup, everything ready, then I came back to acting, joined theater. And when I joined theater, that was my first experience with a different medium. But along the way, as Monika said, I discovered this other side to me, which is filmmaking, storytelling. And it was crazy because there are a lot of stories that, there are a lot of things that we experienced even during my college traveling days. So there are a lot of stories, there are a lot of incidents that stayed with me during my journey from back and forth from the home. And all these stories, all these experiences later came on and helped me with all the stories that I started telling, because I never knew that, things that affected me. And when I started reflecting on them and thought, okay, what can I do? If it's, if it's making me feel something very strongly, I should go out and tell it in a way that it can connect with everyone who's watching it. So yeah, it's been crazy. Since then, we have made 25 short films.
Wonderful.
And it's going great. And we are slowly writing something for the longer format too. So let's see.
Good, good, good. Tell me a little bit more about these films. So how did these films come about? So Vajra, I've seen that your film, whenever I speak to anybody with the Gobelin, they're like, oh, you got a film from the Gobelin. Wow, this, that. So it's wonderful. And it's like, how many Indians have been to Gobelin? I mean, we're like, it's rare. So it's fantastic because, I mean, DreamWorks and Pixar, and I have a friend with Disney who's worked on Frozen, and they got the awards for Frozen. We know that with Gobelin, everybody comes and recruits there. So, I mean, it's fabulous. The experience is fabulous. Your motivation is fabulous to have, wanted this and got there. And then you've come to this film that you've made, which you're very kindly giving us. And that we're having on screen. We've got 10 short films, but this is going to be the only film that we have in the hall. We're doing a very small festival. Second year, we're doing a very small festival. It's only our 5th year. We decided for these 2 COVID sessions of the festival to say the films that we've been taking in the past have been to Cannes, been to Berlin, been to Venice, this, that, or Indian cinema. And everyone said, well, you've barely got anything with short films. So during COVID, we woke up and said, we're only doing shorts. Okay, so we've got all these films online, and I said, well, we've switched online, and why aren't we using this? And so we've given the festival 2 short films for these past 2 sessions, and this year again. And the only film we have that we're showing in a hall is Talaivi. I was also, that with the situation, which can change from one day to the next, and then saying halls are closing, this is happening, that is happening. We did not want it to be a festival where we have regrets and we program things and it gets all closed. And then everyone goes away and we've worked so hard and then it's all lost. So we said this way, we don't lose anything. We've got our filmmakers all over the world. Everyone's happy. They're going to be, with us for these short films because we have great hopes in all of you. And we're hoping that all these films are going to be, features with the length of those films coming up. And if we don't give you this proper space, then how do you get the proper attention to make those features, right? So we said, let's use this as a proper PR platform and festival and everything that we have in terms of people watching us and whoever's going to be seeing the films, so that you get the spotlight that all of you deserve. And it's hard right now because the cupboards are full, the tables are full of distribution because those films have been stacking up and stocked in cupboards, not being able to come out as they should. And so we said, how can we do this so that if the halls need to go and, show their stock of whatever's been stocked up for 18 months. So we have this access, let's give it to filmmakers and let's do all this buzz and do whatever we can on our side. And so it was wonderful to say, this here, you're in France, in Paris, how could we not use this? And how could you not be part of this being in France?
Right.
Yeah. So Blue Curry, tell me a little bit about this, because see, this is the whole thing. It's international. There's a connection, people understanding and working together.
Yeah.
And especially with this COVID thing, hasn't it brought us all closer?
Yeah, it definitely has. In fact, I mean, I have to tell you a bit about myself to get to the point how Glue Curry was made, because I'm an IIT Bombay graduate. I did my master's in 2010. This is my second master's in Paris. And I was working for the past 9 years in IIT Bombay, and because I was teaching. And, I was working with the Ministry of Culture and closely with the museums as well. So I kind of, did a lot of work in that sector in animation around, the cultural aspect of our country, which is so beautiful that from outside perspective, you don't realize, but when you start looking at the history and the past, you just realize how rich we are as a country. And it also because I did a lot of work there, but for me, I believe that back home there was not much push and support by the government in terms of animation. So I thought I should try my luck outside, and I was very fortunate to get into Gobelin. I made that decision very quickly. I applied and my portfolio was selected, and I was very fortunate to be there. And obviously the finance has to be handled, and I was very lucky again to get a scholarship from Sisley Foundation in Paris, which was really which was really cool, because they took care of my education for 2 years, and I could concentrate on my studies, and without any I still have to take care of my bills and things, but it was an amazing journey. Then COVID happened. It affected the whole world. Everybody was affected equally. What happened with us was that I was confined with a couple of people from my team, apparently 2-3 people from my team. We were confined in the same house for almost more than 6 months in the whole lockdown, and we started cooking for each other. And we started experiencing food of each other's culture and country, and we just realized that the food brought us together in spite of being ideologically completely different or a bit opposite. The food brought us together, and we thought this could be a beautiful metaphor to present how different people from different country can still unite, and curry was the best representation for as a metaphor for the same. And also, it also kind of the idea came from our Indian mythology as well, because Krishna, he's blue, he's black. He asks his mother that, why am I blue, or why am I black? But in Hindu mythology, Yashomati Maya, the mother of Krishna, says in a very poetic way, she said something, but it's not really the answer. So we thought, how will a mom answer it? How can, because every day mom has to answer these questions. This is just one of the questions, and also it's a curiosity of the kid about himself, about the world. And I felt that curry was a beautiful metaphor, and this way this film also allows mom to speak to their own kid via the method of cooking or many other ways. And again, coming up with the story was quite challenging because there were 5 different people on this, but each of us brought some beautiful lines. We kind of made the script together. Monika here is the voice of the mom, which is the most beautiful thing. She gave the voice for our our mother, and the kid is a beautiful friend of ours as well. His name is Arush. He lives in the US, but he has a beautiful voice, and he played the character perfectly. And and all of us right now, she's not there. Leah is my teammate. We have Jimin from Korea. Leah is from Paris. We have Magali, she's also French, and we have Shenyu, who is from Taiwan. So we all kind of came together, and we created this beautiful film. And apart from the script, there's a lot of craft that is involved in it. Animation takes a lot of time. It's not you have to draw 24 frames per second, and all my knowledge from the past and at Gobelin kind of we brought it together, and we try to make as beautiful, as rich a film we can. And the good part is that it's being received in such a nice way. We got some really good response, and hopefully it goes to many festivals, and I'm glad that it's a part of Grenoble Film Festival. And yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait for the film to go way beyond. And yeah, that's been an amazing journey so far.
So for the moment, the film is available. It was available on LinkedIn for people to watch.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on Gobelin's YouTube channel. Yeah.
Wonderful. So this you told me the release was a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it released on the 6th. Yeah, 6th of October.
Is there a limited time for this? Then do they keep it like?
It's going to be there for a while till it goes to the other festivals. That for that we would have to probably take it out of YouTube. So we're just waiting for those festivals, and it's gonna happen. I'm sure it's gonna reach some amazing festivals. Yeah, but
So
please watch it because it's there. I mean, Yeah.
Right. So I'm just having somebody come pop in here. Do you know Sangram, Sony? Have you heard of Sangram?
The name seems to be heard, yes.
Okay, he was an AD on Lunchbox. He is teaching. He's also into graphics. He's also into visuals. We're also taking his film. I'm inviting him here. I'm letting him in because the more the merrier. And you're gonna see how much you guys have in common, because he's also into animation. He's doing some fantastic work. You've got to see his film with Rashri Deshpande. His film is also part of our festival. YATHARTH, his film we're taking for the festival, and he was one of the ADs on Lunchbox, and then he's also a teacher at is it NID? I think he's gonna tell us. But what an interesting profile! And when you guys told me about yourselves, I said, come join us. I said, Sangram, it's our 5th anniversary, and we can have a little party online. But I think it's vital that you guys meet each other and that filmmakers meet each other. And I wanted to do a round table. The problem is that it's hard to get everybody at the same time. So I said, well, this meeting was going to be interesting for you because you've got loads of things in common. You're going to have loads of things in common. Sangram, can you hear us? I don't know if you can hear
I'm here.
You can.
I'm just trying to figure out the... Yes.
Hi. Okay, so introducing you to Monika, Vinamra, and Vajra. Okay, Vinamra, Vajra, they're in Paris, and Vajra is doing the Gobelin animation school. They've done a film that they're giving, the 2 films they're giving us TUBELIGHT that went to Cannes and got the HP award, and then they sent the film. Was it to this film that you sent to the Mobile Film Festival in Paris?
No, that was a different one. This went to the Sony Picture This Festival in US.
Right.
Won the grand prize there too.
Right. And then we also and then Vajra's film is part of the Gobelin, which is the graduation film, can you say?
It's my so I just finished my master's from Gobelin, and that's my graduation film.
It's his graduation film. I was just having a long chat with Sangram yesterday. Obviously you had a long chat, and he's also teaching, so he's got the kids, they're watching some films late at night. Are your kids watching the films? Are the students watching the films right now?
Not right now.
Not right now, you finished?
Yeah, just finished What We Do in the Shadows.
And then you worked on Angry Indian Goddesses as well. You worked on the poster of Angry Indian Goddesses.
Yeah, the post-production, yes.
Tell them a little bit about what you do.
So basically, I am a filmmaker, independent filmmaker, artist. I've studied animation from National Institute of Design.
Street art as well.
Street art I do. Street art is it's just a word, it's the vocabulary. I think we are sitting on the kitchen of turmeric, so the people who are eating capsules, there should not be a word for that. Let them eat. It's basically wall art or mural or artwork or whatever. Not graffiti for sure. So I do wall art, I do murals, I do storyboards, anything to do with illustration, graphic design, aesthetics, art, storytelling. So vast. I mean, there are a lot of things that we can do out of it. I'm not rigid about one format. So I've studied animation. I've made my first film as an animation short film. This is my live action. I look forward to make live action films because animation takes a lot of time, and one grows old in one short film only. So I would rather make 2-3 films.
Sangram, I got you here. Tell me a little bit about YATHARTH, because I'm doing this a mixed interview here, because there's similar things in your film and in their film, there's similarity. Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about YATHARTH, which has to be seen. You have to see it. How many minutes?
Yes. YATHARTH is 28 minutes, 27 minutes, 33 seconds to be precise. This is
It's
a
in
father
Marathi.
film. It's in Marathi. It's a long short. It was a short. It got developed into a feature. Then it again became a short. So when you watch the film, you'll get the appetite of a feature only. I mean, it'll sort a feature film appetite only, not just a short film, because there are too many things happening in the film. It took a long time to make YATHARTH. It's a very ambitious project. I would rather say over ambitious project, and I took it heads on, and I exhausted myself. But I was really stubborn with the quality of the film and everything. So it took time, but got it right. And it's been 2 years since I've made this film, and now it's a different struggle to make people watch it and see something happen, something blossom with the film. So anyways, apart from that, yes, there was a lot of it's a father-son film. I have spent all my time in Warsaw. Since 10 years I am living in Andheri West in Mumbai, and near the fisherman suburb. So so I know how these people, what's the psyche of all these people. People keep drinking, people play card games, but nobody is a sad person over there. You'll always see a lot of cheerfulness in Warsaw village. So that's that's the basic idea behind YATHARTH. And then gambling being the basic aspect, and what all a person is going through, trying to get in the minds of something to do with the entropic visions that we see. There are certain shapes that I see in front of my pupils. They are basic shapes. Those are floating. Maybe they mean something, or it's just dust on your eye. Maybe that's a communication. Maybe somebody is overthinking. So these are the kind of elements I've tried to draw parallels with. I mean, weave a thread through that eventually becomes religion, superstitions, imagination, and eventually everything is our own sign language. So how somebody is going through it, carving a path through something happens, something does not happen. So that's YATHARTH. YATHARTH means as it is. So people say YATHARTH means truth also, but I would say as it is a better word than truth, because as it is more true than truth.
So Vinamra, tell us a little bit more about TUBELIGHT now.
So this idea came from again my journey to my engineering college in Mumbai. I also have been brought up in Mumbai. So I stayed in BARC Anushakti Nagar in Chembur, and my college was in Andheri Bhavans. So it was
Right.
almost 1.5 hours travel every day, one side. So whenever I used to take the bus, I would see these small little kids at the traffic signal, and they're fascinating. Like they're not sad. They're not, as he's saying, they have their own life, their own world. But something which was really that shook me up at that time was the fact that they were selling books. These kids were selling books, and I wondered, they should be in a classroom reading those. Do they even know what they are doing? Do they open and read these books, what they are selling? And that kind of triggered the idea of a small kid who's probably sitting outside the school, who's studying under somebody who loves to, because this happened. Me and Monika were going through Lokanwala market, and again, we see the small kids and we buy them something to eat or anything like that. And there was a small kid, and we asked him, "You want to eat something?" And he said no. He took us to a stationery shop, and he wanted to buy books in colors, and that was crazy. And both of us had goosebumps, and we said, "Wow, this kid wants to draw." So the concept of TUBELIGHT has come from there, where this kid is sitting under a street light, and he wants to study, he wants to write, he wants to be in a classroom. doesn't have the means, and how this story then travels, that you will see what happens in the film. But yeah, I mean, the story basically came from something that that left an impact on me and Monica, and you know, during our time. And there are a lot of little things that just move us, and maybe when we sit back and reflect on these things, they just, you know, stay with you, and you want to do something about it. So yeah.
I'm just coming back to all of you because Monica's a producer, plus she's been an actor. Both of you brothers have been actor, have produced, have been into animation. So you've seen all sorts of very different, you know, things, and there's so much to explore. If you've only discovered one thing, and if you only know one thing, fair enough, you know, whatever that is, and you can spend your whole life in whatever that is. There's some people who are going to be actors and never going to direct, never, and even work only in one format. Sangram, it's the same thing. You've done so many different things, and you're this generation from India where we're not seeing with the ambition of saying, okay, well, I'm in animation films. This is my whole life. I'm going to do this, and it's going to be forever. You know, this, we don't know where we're going to find you next, or three, or, you know, four of you. So it's so interesting, this. And I can see from your profiles that you're going to be exploring so much. What do you feel is the situation today? Let's forget COVID. But 2021, with all these possibilities, all these platforms, all these different things to say, well, there's animation, and then there's a street art, and then there's how we can film, and you can make it on a mobile phone, and all this, is it overwhelming? Or are you thinking it's interesting that you're given all this, all these possibilities, with all these doors that open to you? What do you think, Sangram?
I'll have a lot to say about this, and I'll have a very rigid tone about it, and very unapologetic too, because I am banging my head to make people see. I mean, just watch the film. Uh, Anyways, to be very, very, very honest, whatever I have encountered with all the platforms and everything, I can challenge everyone. Just write Sangram in your inbox and you will find something. So on that behalf, I can say that everybody is snoozing. Yes, people are busy. People, we also come in people. We are also busy. We are not selling aquaguard, and these people are sitting in chaddis, they are wearing tie in front of them, they are Zoom calls, and they are now going to institutes, also film institutes, to take courses of how to, what's that word, uh
Acquisition.
what do platform acquisition, how to do the acquisitions, and they'll take that paid courses, but they'll not do their jobs properly. They'll write "not me" in inverted commas, that don't contact me, contact her, but they won't have the dignity to watch your film. I don't want to name them. I admire their confidence if they see this video. So basically, this is the system how we are
I'm not going
functioning.
to edit anything, okay? I'm not cutting
Whatever it
anything
is,
out. It's going to be there.
Sonia मेरे नाम में संग्राम है, and I'm just, all I'm trying to do is choose my battles. That's it. So,
And you
anyways,
know me on Facebook, huh? Everything I say, I mean, it's all there. And nobody cares who says it, who sees it, right?
So yeah, to be very precise, this is the situation, and I have tried to reach with dignity to a lot of people on OTT platforms. People have seen the film, people love the film, but there are many people who have not seen the film. They have some prejudice. Oh, it's Marathi. Oh, it's short. Arey, you first see the film. What are you sitting? And I'm talking to your post, not to your ego. आप बैठो मत वो post पे. I'm reaching out to you because I have made a film, and the way you're functioning, this is not how I function or how anybody else functions to make their film. So if you don't want to watch it, tell me clearly. Otherwise, watch it, but communicate. This is how it is. And then after 4 or 5 reach outs of dignity, you feel like I'm a salesman or something, or somebody else is a salesman. No, that's not how it happens. People get tired. People move on. People have made an expensive film. People subscribe to piracy. The people who made the audience strong is now are the people who are dumping them now because they have an audience already. Distributors बैठे हैं आपके सामने. So this is not how it functions, and I don't know how to crack this. And I would rather be a happy artist than being a, I don't like the word hustle, but a hustling filmmaker. Nobody hustles. We have a 4K camera in our pockets. If we don't have a production friendly script in our heads, that's our problem. And there are so many performers, so many hungry people wanting to act, and they're just giving auditions after auditions.
What I'm trying to say, see what I also said, and I'm insisting on this, is that you guys are a length ahead of what's coming up with the industry. Do you feel that you're in your right space? Do you feel that to be understood and to be able to create, you got to live somewhere else? Because India is running late. They are super late with the stuff that you guys are bringing out. All right. Now, I choose this stuff because it is different and it is original. And I've always felt and seen stuff that I think, oh gosh, India's late. India's not waking up to this. All right. So these guys are ahead of time in terms of what they're bringing out. All right. So there's that. And there's this very comfortable thing with India, which is like, oh, isn't your film the typical stuff? I'm not putting down the film industry, mind you, but there is a lot of this in so many offices where if you make people uncomfortable, if you're going out of your comfort zone, people are like, oh no, this is not for us. Okay, but you've got to know that with going ahead and being avant-garde, you are doing original stuff. You are doing stuff that Indians are not going to maybe understand. Not everybody's going to understand or like that. Okay, so that is what Sundance wants, and that is what special places want. So, and not everybody gets it, and that's okay. And that's okay. There's even part of Cannes where not everyone gets it. All right. But that's the space you've chosen, and you're not going to make any compromises to change that, right? Monika, what do you say? Vinamra, Vajra, what do you say about that?
Yeah, let Monika speak a bit, and then maybe we can share our points.
I am not a very politically correct person. I have to be very careful of what I say. Yeah, so what I feel, what I've experienced, in terms of talent, there's so many people out there. The challenge that we face, we've been doing this from 2013, and at festivals, at individual screenings, we have got a good response. There are certain films we like ourselves as well, but we also kind of gauge from how the response we're getting from people. But one of the things that has been told to us, which I do believe is a skill you have to kind of put out there, is first it was like, you need to be able to market yourself, right? And now the whole new thing is social media, be on Instagram, but whatever the dynamics over there are, it's just that this whole additional aspect that you have to bring, one does try, depends on how many followers you have. This is that whole day and age where all of that matters a lot. I know how with Blue Curry, among the three of us, Vajra is the most genuine and sincere in terms of putting work out there, getting seen. But the challenge that we have faced, and what I feel people face, is that, like you said, in India, now from a culturally, that you have seen is they want to play it safe. And now with the political climate, like it's been for the last almost now, like hopefully not a decade, but around that number, it's also become a little more scary, And when, like even in the space that you mentioned, like OTT. So with our short films, especially during the pandemic time, because we couldn't create, we thought, let's work on this aspect, where we reach out to people, we market our films. It's important. I'm putting it close. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but I think that's our flaw or something that we need to work on. But that's what we did. And from the responses, it's always so that mediocrity that we are so used to. We laud ourselves when we do an okay web series or an okay film. And if we're to be compared to Western cinema, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's European cinema, you're like, yeah, whatever, you want to put the Indians down. But that's not the case, because from what our little exposure has been, I have relatives who live in villages. I recently went home to Himachal and I showed some of our films to very little children. They were able to get the story. I did not have to tell them, so what is that? And they understood the emotion. So to my mind, it's a very lazy and sad excuse. And everywhere you go, people say, wow, great job. But no one is really pushing it unless you're like big production houses. You have a few names who are kind of doing it, but mostly we play in the safe, because someone of a caliber like Vinamra, you know, from a filmmaking point between the two of us, he is phenomenally good. But despite having the portfolio that he does, when he has to go out there and reach out, it's just always what gets picked is what's more safe, what's more popular. It just seems like, you know, one of those high school movies that you're a part of, that you watch. It's just, except that it's not high school, you know? So I know I'm kind of rambling here. It's just that there's so much, and I just want to be like, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, the question just kind of touches a nerve here, because you have been trying, because I'm telling you, we have had better responses. I have sent, like, for example, an email we sent it to Apple and to one of the biggest heads, and we had a response the next day. We were given a seat across the table and they heard us and they saw the content and they were very kind to say, okay, you know, this is very impressive. We're looking for longer format. Can you bring something up? But we were heard, we were brought forth, we were seen as artists, we felt seen, we felt heard, and we felt encouraged. And I would say that has not happened in the domestic circuit. You know, despite being able to create the films, yes, we have things that we need to work on, but when you have such a portfolio, you feel it. So like I said, we've only had responses from when we've been to Europe, when we go to the US, and we're thinking, oh, okay, so it does, it's not so bad, because otherwise you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe we're just amateurs. You know, you tend to second guess yourself. That happens. But now we've stopped that. I now go on and say, no, we make good films. You know, everyone got their set of genre or the way they want to tell a story, which kind of space they fall into, what is their comfortable style of storytelling. And so yes, we are determined. We recently, right now, Vinamra is in Paris, I'm here. We just wrapped up, we still haven't wrapped up, we're in post-production of a film, and only we know how we pulled it off, because now again, as an example, we had to deep dive into our pockets. Eventually, how many, like you said, you know, you carry a 4K, but sometimes the production value, and you have other things, you have actors. Now, we don't have all the skill. Then it's like, I have to be editing, I have to do VFX, I have to do literally everything, which is not possible. And it feels really crummy to, like, you know, you get friends on board, but eventually we need to pay bills. We live in houses too, we eat food too. We're not, you know, we're not like these special humans who can just survive on air and clean water, even that costs money. But yeah, so that's the thing. It is, you know, as a person, I'm pretty optimistic. So I tell myself, okay, no problem. Let's keep, what is it that I can do better? What is it that we can do better? But the challenge exists. There's so much talent in terms of whether it's acting, directing, stories. You know, I see people around, I've seen people from NSD, FTI who take the education that is required. They come here, they're so talented. Since some of that happens in the West as well, but the proportion is alarming here, you know? It's just absolutely alarming. So people harp about it, things are changing, this is happening, that is happening. It's not happening as fast as it should, and I completely agree, we are way behind. Every time we'll always be behind, and we'll just say, oh, well, whatever. You know, we'll make excuses.
I just want to add to that. I think also the basic problem with India, it's changing right now, but the problem is people are looking at short films as a stepping stone to a feature film, which is not. Short films are a world in itself. Like, your short film is complete in itself. And I think when that kind of respect is given to a short film, now what is happening is everybody wants to make a short film because, it will be in my CV and that's my stepping stone to a feature film. Now, when you start looking at short films differently, and even in the commercial aspect, you see they're trying to club short films and trying to make it into a feature to make it more sellable. Now, So that kind of respect has to be, people have to understand this platform more deeply. Like when we are not tied down by the duration of a film in terms of telling a story. A story can be a minute short, or it can be 15 minutes or 90 minutes, or irrespective, but a story is a story at the end of the day. And when people start understanding this, I think when this understanding of the format of short films starts to come in India, I think we'll see more respect and more opportunities that ways. Coming back to your point, yes, this is a golden age for filmmakers. I don't deny, because the kind of opportunities that we have right now, the films can be made on a mobile phone, and there are so many platforms to showcase your film too. But again, I want to just point out, I was the first AD on Devashish Makija's film, Bhosle. And you might have known, Devashish normally makes films which are, again, not your commercial films. They won't be lapped up by the studios. But again, we knew the kind of struggle there was, and we discussed this before entering into, going on the floors. Not just after the film is made, even before, when the film is made, there's a lot of struggle in terms of, because there are not a lot of people backing up such concepts, because it's, as you said, it's not, maybe the country is not ready. The commercial, the distribution companies, the studios are not ready for such kind of cinema. So making it is a struggle. And then, as Sangram said, when it's made, thinking about, making people watch your film is again a struggle. Because, and the only route that we take is the festivals, because once we get a tag of any international festival, then it becomes more sellable in the country, and then it's easy for distribution. So luckily in Bhosle, it did generate a lot of buzz in the festival circuit, and finally Sony was able to get it online. So yeah, it's mixed times. There are struggles there, but I feel if you have the conviction to stay with what you want to say, and not be bogged down by what is going to be shown, or what is easy to sell or distribute. If you have enough conviction and you stay with the stories that you want to tell, it will find its way one way or the other. May take more time, but you have to stick to what you want to say eventually. Then only it's going to be an honest storytelling.
Very truly said. Very recently, I was speaking to a cool actor who was supposed to do YATHARTH, and उन्होंने करी नहीं, मतलब eventually dates नहीं मिल रही थी, किसी और को मैंने लिया, I shot it. But I really admire him, and whenever we talk at a stretch, and this time he told me that, why the fuck are you sounding like a crybaby? I did not ask you to make a 9 lakh film. You made it. It was your choice. You wanted to get in that puddle. There are so many films that we've made, and I mean, they are not even seen anywhere. That was film. We've done things for free. So don't bother about this. But yes, it is our baby. We keep wondering, because we also see a lot of bullshit content floating, and we also see a lot of lobby mein lobby, parag lobby floating around us. So then we wonder that, okay, am I doing something wrong, or how does this really function? And then you just make a choice of holding on to your sanity. And then, yeah, if you want to make a film next, make a choice. This is the puddle you want to jump into. And I don't make it for validations. And ideally, people, no good filmmaker, no great filmmaker, no philosopher, no artist did anything for validation. They did it with the noble intention of transcending whatever is passing through them, whatever is genuine to them. And today, because people are getting validations through festivals, people have started making films for festivals. Now, people have made contacts with festivals, तो वो बीच में दुकान डाल के बैठे हैं. And now these filmmakers will make films for the lobby. I don't know where this stops. So I mean, yeah, I'll always have a lot to say from this angle also and that angle also, but this side of angle is very innocent, and which will keep making films whenever there is a need to communicate a story in live action format. Otherwise, there are comic books. You don't need to spend so much. Yes, there are graphic novels. You don't need to spend so much, but it needs skill. And everybody who's working for you, needs to pay their bills. So yes, there is a basic logistic to every kind of a format, but your film, your story calls for that treatment, not the treatment calling for a story. So we are always open to do something production friendly, something interesting, something new media, and people will keep terming them, giving it new vocabulary. Okay, this is called found footage, this is called falana tamkana. So it's all expression. Give dignity to the people you learned from, you borrowed from, or you used some stock footage from, or you paid for the footage for, and keep moving on. Make your next films. Is what I feel. This is what I have learned. And whenever the film gets validation, there will be a set of interesting people who would want to go back to watch your film, like how we have gone and watched certain filmmakers' films, and they have gone and they have gone. So this chain will keep functioning in its own innocence, and these validations are very temporary. These festivals are also very temporary. The people who have made the shops and contacts between these festivals are also temporary. They're already doing their what do you call retirement thing. They'll get their fees from PIIs, and they tell people festivals में ऐसे जाना वैसे जाना ये मत करना वो मत करना आपसे ना हो पाएगा अब रहने दो.
So I'm going to let you say that. You're free to say whatever. Vajra, what do you think?
Wow, I think most of them have summed it up. Like I kind of agree with both Sangram and Monika and my brother. But I wish I could say it in Hindi. इंडिया में ना वड़ा पाव खाने की आदत है, ठीक है, और सबको वड़ा पाव अच्छा लगता है. Like people like to eat vada pav. Okay, so make vada pav, but make good vada pav. There are very few people who like to eat pasta. Okay, so again a food analogy, but the thing is, आप वड़ा पाव खा रहे हैं तो आप अच्छा वड़ा पाव बनाओ. But people are trying to make pasta, उसको Indian style में pasta बना रहे हैं, so it's not everybody's gonna like it. So again, my point of view here being, because I can talk from animation point of view right now, and Sangram might agree with me or not, just that I completely, we kind of have a very similar background. He's from NID, he did his animation in NID, I did my animation in IDC. Sangram might be aware of IDC and NID.
And then you're both teachers, you're both teaching.
Yeah, apparently. So we were teaching as well, and teaching is a big deal. It's not easy. It takes a lot from you. It takes a lot from you, and it also pulls you down, because you're kind of reiterating the same thing, and you have to question your own growth. That's why I kind of had to move as well. But I was lucky that I was teaching and I was parallelly working on different projects. But now when it comes to animation, I feel I didn't come to Gobelin to get into Gobelin. I came to Gobelin because I was dying to make a film, and I couldn't make it while I was in IIT Bombay, because I tried. It takes a lot, and the kind of, like, I would have killed. I know my friends who have killed themselves by just making a film, and again, the film probably will go to a festival here and there. It's just that it was also to push the bar in terms of the skills. There is a certain skill set that we are kind of comfortable with, and I would still call it mediocrity. That we settle for mediocrity. We are not pushing for more. We are happy. We look at the European animation and we are like, this is so cool, but we don't do it. And it's not that Gobelin taught me so many things. Yes, they did. I was in a very beautiful environment of people who are freaking brilliant. Every single one of them is so good that you cannot be, you have to push. You have to push.
Yes, but that's why Pixar and DreamWorks come and recruit at Gobelin. And How many Indians do you find at Gobelin? I find it fantastic to be able to. I am so proud. I mean, I'm like, oh gosh, we got somebody from India at Gobelin. So I mean, the whole of LinkedIn, all the 3,500 people on my network, I'm harassing them. It's going to begin with the festival and all of you and what your works are, and Sangram's film. To see what's coming out. See, because the same struggle of hammering things into everybody's heads is what goes into getting the attention with our journalists in Cannes for the past 20 years. And I keep telling filmmakers also on this side, where you are, all of you, be careful, because my time is precious. You know why? Because I go and try to get that space with Variety, with Hollywood Reporter, and with Screen, which are the world's top journals, newspapers, magazines, and I'm fighting for exactly the same journalists as George Clooney and Brad Pitt. That's the same time I'm giving you. So my position there is like that space that we've got, we're fighting with the whole world to get that space. But we're going to get it only if we believe that we have that level. And we come with the belief that what films we're bringing are up to the mark. And to make that, it's exactly what you said. It cannot be, okay, what are we going to cater to? No, you don't do, people don't think that. When Emir Kusturiza is thinking of a film, he doesn't care. He's got his project and his vision in his head, and he's going ahead with his vision, and he gives a damn about who's coming and where it's going to be going.
Exactly.
And all of you have this in common. Keep it. It's super precious. Your minds are not polluted by somebody's influence, selling something for the benefit of some channel or some person. All right. So all this is going to be out. I'm saying it to you, been saying it for 20 years to people. And when Ashwin Kumar comes in 2004 and shows me Little Terrorist, and I tell him we should be showing it to Cannes. And then I tell the directors of Cannes, why the heck didn't you take it? Do you know that this is going to the Oscars? You're really foolish. Okay. And this is in 2004. So I've never stopped. My position, everybody knows, is super nervous, sitting in the middle between the filmmakers and the people in the festival and saying, did you see what we've done? Did you even see do you understand what's coming out of India? And it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. But to get that attention, it's also difficult sometimes if our programmers do not know these references, are not familiar with what we're doing, their minds don't settle for something different. If we don't get them into the habit of seeing things, and I tell them, well, did you see what Anurag brought third time with Raman Raghav? Did you see that? Well, do you imagine that that's coming out of India? And they go, no, but it's so nice. And I said, now get into the habit of putting this in your head and saying, this is what's coming out of India. So that when you program and you select, you're not waiting for something only in villages and only here and the typical idea that you have and a mindset, because after all, a programmer is a programmer, right? And has to choose and has to make up a decision, has to select. I've been a programmer for Marrakesh and I know that it's difficult. What do you choose? You've got so much to choose from, right? So to not get into the influence, not get lost, it's hard. Yep. And we also need to train them and prepare them for that. If every programmer says, but you know what, since the age of 12, I've been watching Japanese films. And I go, but I've lived in Japan for a year. And in France, 20 years ago, nobody read the mangas. People didn't know anything. Yep. Now, all my students at the university know the mangas and know this and know so much about Japan. Somebody has to educate and bring that education there. Okay. If animation didn't have that, well, I'm saying to you that today you've got the people from Rhythm and Hues who worked on Narnia. Okay. Now these studios are in Mumbai.
And I believe that the whole PR point of view, because I remember when we met you at Cannes, we were in a crowd. We just sort of, in the short film corner, we met you, and we still kept in touch via very limited touch though. We were still there, and I was painting. Like honestly, when I came to Paris, I started painting a lot, and I used to post it. I was active online, and that's why we're at least able to talk now. Like we are able to connect because we kept connected. It's very important to stay in touch and stay in touch with the right people. And it was not out of like, oh, Sonia is going to help me do this, but it was more that because it's going to happen. It will happen if you are diligently working on your stuff. Like for example, when I made my film Blue Curry, we didn't make it for festivals or anything else. We did our job. Now the film will have its own story and journey, and it will happen. But you have to be, again, we are bound for social media. We have to do our part. And it's not easy. It's very cringy for me. Like even to put a post, it's very cringy. I don't like it, but I have to. Because otherwise, this is how it is. This is the game. You have to be a part of it. But you have to create content. Now, my struggle right now would be that. So right now I'm working at Illumination McGuff. when I'm working for somebody else's film. But I don't want the storyteller in me to die down after I made Blue Curry. I want to make more films. So I would be investing my time writing my stories and probably pitching it to CNC or Annecy, or there are many platforms, but then I have to go behind it. I have to do that part, which is very, very important. Here, there is a lot of scope. There is a lot of support. Europe, France, there is a lot of support here. I wish India had the similar thing, but I'm not really sure now, because I know that there's a beautiful studio, WebHub Studio, which is creating amazing work, and they had to come to Annecy to pitch for a TV series, which is an Indian TV series, and they got funded, which is amazing. But why is there is no funding in India itself? So that part is lacking, and I have no clue about it. I don't want to get into that, because then it'll be a cry baby story all the time. So,
but 20 years ago, when we set up India Pavilion, I remember, and it was, the whole thing was, and the ministry said, well, how are we going to do this? And the ambassador, I remember, she was saying, it was Savitri Kunari, and she was saying, do you think that we'll be able to do this? And we have to, and I said, of course, we're not giving ourselves the choice. We're going to do it,
Yeah.
And I said, I've never set up a pavilion before. Can you imagine what you're offering me? It's crazy. We're going to get noticed. And I said, you know what I'm happy about? Well, we've got Murali Nair, who's got his film Arampara. We've got Aishwarya in the jury. She did Devdas last year. She's absolutely gorgeous. And we've got L'Oréal, and we have the red carpet. I'm going to use every damn thing I can, And then we get Chopin, who designed the official Palme d'Or. We get an official lunch for our delegation in the Palais, exactly where the jury eats at the, it's a very exclusive place. And we do a lunch for 30, 40 people.
Yeah. No, I was there at Annecy this year as well. And I mean, Blue Curry is going to go to Annecy, and it was also there in Cannes, because Miu took Blue Curry to Cannes as well for the Golden Sparks in animation, which is very cool, from French schools.
Fantastic.
I wish this could happen for Indian animation schools as well, because NID, IDC, there are a couple of, Shrishti as well. I think there are films that are there, but again, how to. Like, I wish.
So we're going to do this. So okay. The project. Okay, so this
did go to Annecy this year. Film by my junior.
Upamanyu.
They made a beautiful film called Wade.
Yeah, Upamanyu. I know. I met Upamanyu at Annecy. I know. I remember. We were hanging out together. He got a funding for making his next film, which is really cool. It's a feature film that he's making now. So he got a funding recently. At Annecy. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, he can make a film now.
Krishna Chandran by any chance?
Yeah, Casey. I know Casey as well. Yeah. Casey's back in India. Yeah.
We should do this, and obviously we're going to be doing it. But I was waiting for. I needed to have some films before I did this. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Please take care. Stay safe. And thanks a million for being part of our festival, giving us your film. And we look forward to you staying hyper creative and giving us loads more films.
Yeah. Bon courage.
Bon courage. Be careful, huh, Vajra. Yeah. I'm hyper attentive on your French.
I know. I'm trying to be.
This is going to be only in French next time.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Sonia.
All the best.
Pleasure meeting you, Sangram.
Thanks, Monika.
Lots of love from this side, and yeah.
Okay. Everyone's going to watch everyone's films. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone's. I'm going to put all of you into email together. All the people we have in our festival, all your emails together, so that you all share links and watch each other's films.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a roundtable.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. Thanks very much, Monika. Bye.
Bye, Sangram. Bye, Sonia.
Bye, Sangram.
Bye.
न जाओ जी, मन दीद करावो जी, अरे क्यों तरसावे हो, मन शकल दिखावो जी। थारी शरारत सब जानू मैं चौधरी, हर चले उन्हें बंगा दी मैं कह लगे, मर बिगड़ में जागी धोकनी चंदा में थारी।